Okay. So basically, we've got our software development workout, and you know, ask why do you work out at all? We have to decide where and how we're going to work out. You're going to work out at home. You're going to go to the club, and what exercises are you going to work out?
Okay.
Are you going to do, and how are you going to do that? And what things are you going to focus on? So the reasons we work out is we want to improve our overall health and increase our stamina, and frankly, just make the rest of life easier. Because when
Yes.
you're healthy, you're able to do things easier. You're taking out the trash. You're not going to hurt yourself. Reaching for something that's really high, you're not going to pull a muscle. Lifting something that's heavy in the garage and having to move it, you're not going to hurt yourself. So just the rest of life is easier. And why would we want to do a software development workout? Well, because we want to improve our overall skill set, increase our confidence, and frankly, just make the rest of our developer life easier.
Yes.
Because if you have a greater set of tools to draw upon, greater set of skills, things just get easier to do.
Yes.
So, where and how to work out? You're going to work out at home. You're going to work out at the club. What things are you going to focus on? If you're going to work out, the most important thing to focus on is the core, your shoulders, your back, your trunk, because otherwise, if you hurt your back, you can't work out. If you hurt your shoulders, you can't lift weights. If your trunk is weak, your arms and legs just there's no point even
Yeah.
doing anything there. So that needs to be done first, and then you've got essentials like your arms and your upper body. That's what most people want to work on, and then the legs are also absolutely important, but they tend to be the first thing neglected. So you have people who get the bar body where their arms are bigger than their thighs, and but they look good standing at the bar trying to hit on women, and so that's okay. They got these chicken legs that they're walking around on, and they're really not as strong as they look. We want to avoid that. You want to have a nice, well balanced workout. So in our software development workout, we have to decide what we're going to do. So most important is the
Yeah.
core. What would the core be? Well, effectively your code reading skills. What are you spending most of your time doing all day?
It's true.
You're reading code. So we need to you need to be good at that. And if you want to be good at it, then you need to practice it. Well, we just I don't know, did you study computer science in college?
No.
Okay. Because uh, computer science is that's what I studied, and I will tell you that I didn't I didn't get a single course in how to read code. And I've talked to a number of students, and they don't get any courses in how to read code either. Um,
Yeah.
so this is really what I wanted to focus on with you today. But
Okay.
I'll just quickly cover the other things I'm going to be talking about. The other essentials are refactoring skills and legs are I'd like to know testing and TDD. See, I need to update my slides.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and update that now. I'm talking about testing and TDD. See, I'm so glad I'm running through this with you.
I'm here to do this too.
Testing, TDD are essential, and they're the first things neglected. So, and we've gone through testing and TDD, so you know how important they are. But
Yes.
get these skills down, and everything kind of goes together. you might recognize these three things from what we talked about last week. So let's look at some specific exercises. If we're going to be doing working on the core, and we're going to be doing our code reading skills. We're going to be, you can exercise by reading open source. You can look at examples of good code and examples of bad code. What are we doing when we read code? We're looking to recognize, well, first we're wanting to figure out how the code works. What does it do? But you also want to be able to recognize this is bad and needs to be changed, or this is good and this is a model I need to follow.
Yes.
Yes. So, but during your workday, you want to be able to say, this is what I need to change, and this is how I'll need to change it. But you need to understand what it does first. The next exercise would be recognizing code smells. You want to know what does a code smell look like, and without having to really understand all the code, you should be able to look at a section of code and recognize if there's a code smell there. And then ideally you would have an idea what refactorings would clean up that particular code smell, and then how to implement that refactoring. And then finally, your refactoring patterns, how to use your tools to perform the refactorings and the proper design patterns that you're going to be moving towards as you're implementing that refactoring. And yeah, this is a picture of me a couple of years ago. But,
I think so.
and then I woke up.
Well, I imagine it.
Yeah, this was you. So,
Okay.
So, and then finally, of course, testing in TDD. You need to code with the idea of testing in mind. The easiest way to do that is to do TDD, because you are coding from a test.
Yeah.
But even if you're not going to do that, if you're not very skilled in TDD, you want to at least code with the idea of making something testable. And so you can add the tests later. And when you're, I don't know, most of the code that you're working on is code that already exists. And most of the code that I work on, at least, doesn't have any tests. It wasn't coded with testing in mind. So you need to know how to add tests to untestable code. And my favorite tool for that is the approval tests tool. And then this is sort of my fundamental quote that I keep going back to. I'm not a great programmer. I'm a good programmer with great habits. So we need to develop the great habits to become a great programmer.
A great programmer.
So let's go back to our, okay. So basically I'm back to, I copied all the slides. So this is how it ends. All right. Okay. So anyhow, that's a quick introduction. I'm going to embellish it just a little bit for the presentation. I've got 20 minutes, so I can't be going deep into examples, but I'll do a little bit of that.
No, it's a good presentation. I think you work just like me with topics. So the topics will guide you in during the presentation.
Right.
To me, it's a good presentation. It's a good presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, that's the other thing that I'm working on. I need to. There's there it is. So, what I wanted to talk about. My notes are not there. Okay, fine. What I wanted to do today is basically show an example of let's find some open source code and read it. And we talked earlier about Jenkins, so we will
Okay.
just dive into that, and I will show you how do I do that sort of thing from soup to nuts.
Okay.
So we can go and look at, so say we want to go and contribute to Jenkins. So we go to the contributing link, and I want to go to the, say I want to look at the code, all right? And it says I'm a newcomer. So if I want to, where do I want to contribute? It shows me places where I can go to contribute.
Okay.
And the newcomers, we've been through this. Here's the links that show us what we need to do to get started. So we can just go to GitHub here and see some of the issues, messages with blocks and attachments. All right, so let's we're just wanting to read the code. So let's look at, here's the Jenkins core. If we want to go to, boom, the Jenkins core code, it's right here. So what I can do is I can look at the code here and oh, that's a command line interface. Yeah. Oh, maybe that'd be interesting to look at. Stop builds command. So that's a pretty short piece of code. So we can look at that. You can see they start everything with this MIT license, which is just stuff you gotta scroll past, and then they don't have any stars here. So they like to list everything out, which tells you that they're probably not using IntelliJ, because if you look at IntelliJ, and import in IntelliJ, well, that's not a good example. IntelliJ will usually stick stars in the beginning there, but I guess not. Why not? So that Alt Shift L. No, Control Alt L. I thought it was Alt Shift L. There you go. Okay, I guess IntelliJ is the one that expands it out. So I guess they do use IntelliJ. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I know it's either IntelliJ or Eclipse that goes and compresses everything down to stars. Just the reason that's important is because otherwise you're going to have, what do we have? 13 lines of imports here, where it could be probably closer to 7 or 8.
Okay.
And we got to go and dig through here. Other people will argue, well, you can see which ones you're using. Well, yeah, you're going to see the ones you're using when you get down into the code. So, I mean, it's only 120 lines of code here. So let's look at how this works. This is their command line interface. All right. And so basically it uses the argument annotation. I'm not familiar with the argument annotation. I wonder how that works. Have you seen it before?
No, to me, it's new.
Yeah. So so this is something I could learn about if I'm working on a command line interface for an application. And it looks like if you pass in something, I don't know, well, I guess it doesn't matter because this is just the code from GitHub. I can't go and dig into it. But this gives you instructions on how to use it. So the parameter is the name of the job to stop is required. And that's, you can have multiple jobs at the same time. So you'll get a list of job names, and there's a flag there. So this inherits from, extends a CLI command. Okay. See if I click on that. It's in Hudson CLI command. Okay. That's pretty interesting. This has got some good stuff here in GitHub for looking at code. So there's a short description, stop all running builds for jobs. So that's different from the argument instruction. So basically, I guess that would be if you put a question mark, and
Yeah.
this don't pass any parameters. So run. So I guess this is the main function. So you get your Jenkins.
Instance.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I guess it grabs an instance of Jenkins. Deduplicate job name, preserve the order specified by the user. Okay. So linked hash set. Okay. So I'm guessing that the linked hash set is defined in the project because that doesn't sound like a standard. Oh, I guess it is a standard Java utility. Have you ever heard of the linked hash set?
Yes, yes. I think it's a hash set with the thread safe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but also it gets rid of duplications. That's why they're using it. So pretty interesting. And it preserves the order because that's why it's linked. It's something like a linked list.
Yes.
And here we have an array list of jobs to stop. So you pass in a bunch of names. That would be your job names. And then it's going to go through the names, which is, where does he get names? Did I miss something? Oh, here. Yeah, okay, so you get the job. Okay, I see. It creates a linked hash set. So that iterates through your job names. It goes and gets the full name and then adds that to a jobs to stop array. So it looks, so I guess it grabs that from the Jenkins. Okay. And then for each job to stop, it's going to say stop jobs, which is
Stop job.
and then if it's not true that any build was stopped, then it's going to say, hey, no builds were stopped. So that flag must be set down here in this stop job.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So stop job builds right here, final job. So you do one at a time. Get the last build. Okay, so that's the job that is happening is a build.
Yeah.
Get the full name, and then if you check to see if it's building, if it's building, then you stop it. Then you check and stop any previous builds. So wonder what that means. Oh, that's down here. So that will get the previous build in progress based on the last build, and the last build is the one that you're from the job. You get the last build. So that's basically the last build from the job you're trying to kill. And then you're going to, the build is not null, then we will stop it. Oh, okay. So you're saying, so basically you're going to kill any builds that are running from a particular job. So a job could be a collection of builds. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll stop it and we'll get the previous build in progress. From, okay, that's a Jenkins command. So the build is it's a run. And build is a run. So I don't know what a run is, but I guess it's part of a job. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the stop build function is up here. So to stop it, you get the display name, the executor. And if it's not null, we tell it to do the stop. So this all must be interior to Jenkins.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, a build was stopped. And we go and print out which one was stopped. If it doesn't, then it's still false. Okay, exception occurred. So they don't, I guess they just print out whether or not a job was stopped. And so throws an exception. Yeah. Exception occurred trying to stop it and gives you as much information as you can about it otherwise. Okay. So this is I'm from my perspective, it's some relatively clean code. It's small, it's short, it's documented in the things that might be confusing, and it's very concise. So what we could do if we want to look a little deeper into it is we go to the top, and I hope we can find my way back there. Code, make a copy of that. And I will then just go to my, do this on my D drive, dev learn. I'll just do it here. I'll create a git bash just because I'm more familiar with the command line. So I'll just say git clone. I'm sure it's possible to do this using IntelliJ, but
Yeah, it's it looks like easy, but I prefer do just like you do.
yeah,
I
the command
prefer
line.
this. Yeah, I prefer use the command line, the git bash.
Yeah, there's a book that friend of mine recommended. Where do I have that?
Well, I think in the IntelliJ it's a little more confused to do. I
Yeah,
prefer I use the command line.
right. So practical git. Someone recommended this book to me. It's not very highly rated, but no, I got it, and it's got 3.5 stars.
Okay.
But yeah, basically what he does is he sets up a number of different exercises to work through
Oh,
to see
cool.
press. But oh yeah, I've got the ebook for that. Yeah, I put it in here. Where do I have that? That'd be in my documents, right? Documents, ebooks. And it's not here. Okay, maybe I've got it on my D drive. The docs, ebooks. And maybe it'd be in the programming. I just wanted to show you real quick the kind of stuff that's in it. Oh, God. Hello? What's going on? There you go. Practical. Get JPEG. Oop. Oh, I guess I don't have the ebook. Well, don't I feel stupid? Sorry.
No
Anyhow,
problem.
it's got these exercises you walk through, scripted exercises and katas that you walk through
Okay.
to get a good feel for how Git works. And so,
Oh,
anyway,
it's interesting. It's interesting.
all right. So we put that. I will open. So what did I want to get? Jenkins, right? It doesn't look like it. Learn.
Yeah, I saw.
You saw it?
I saw.
There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Okay. I trust that project. And I'll open that in a new window. I don't know what I was working on. Okay. So, and we looked in CLI, source, main, Java, CLI.java. What we were looking at? It doesn't look familiar.
No,
So here, boom, 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 boom. Jenkins core source main Java.
yeah.
Well, let's go back to there then. Boom, Jenkins core source main Java Jenkins CLI. Here we go. So now I can show you some of the tools that I use in IntelliJ.
Okay.
So have I shown you this before? This is a plugin that I like a lot. It's called Code Glance. Plugins. I'm sorry, Code Glance Pro.
Code Glance. Okay.
Okay, so go to the home page. I'll show you where it is. But and that basically describes how it's used and everything. But yeah, if you look here, you go to the marketplace and you type Code Glance, you'll see that there's a bunch of them. There's Code Glance 2, Code Glance 3. These are all they're built off of the same project, which is Code Glance. See, it's a rework on Code Glance. Look at this. This is this is a rework on Code Glance as well. And then this is the original Code Glance author. So
Okay.
so all of these, basically the original author stopped working on it, and these guys decided to take it on. And these guys then subsequently stopped working on it, but this one is still being maintained. So, and it's got the most downloads. So I said, okay, I will use that one. But basically, it gives you a thumbnail idea of the structure of the code.
Okay.
It's kind of nice. And you can click anywhere in there, and so that the
It's
thumb might
cool.
be hard to grab. And then you can quickly see areas of the code and that sort of thing. This makes it easy to notice duplicated code. They're easier because it tends to be the same shape, and you can see code that's got lots of nested if statements and that sort of thing. That might be an area where you can look at for refactoring. So here you've got a for loop and an if loop inside. So a lot of times you don't want to, usually you don't want to go into that deep. You'll want to break out the internal indentations into another function call. Anyhow, so here we can go through and look at some of these things. You can say, okay, what is a job? Oh, it's still going and resolving all the dependencies.
Yeah.
So I can't go see what is a job.
I think it's
Oh,
it's a lot choose.
Yeah. I can say, okay, the job is a Hudson model job. So do I have a Hudson model job? Well, fine. And look for job. Or let's look for Hudson.model. In the, not the import, I'll look for it in the, that thing at the very top, the package. I don't see it. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Are we almost done here? I'm sorry, I didn't realize it would take this long.
No, no problem.
Oh, great. And now it's broken out. Downloading plugins. That's going to take a while. Okay. Um, so yeah, it would be nice to start looking at all the different things that are made up here. One thing I will do is I like to look at the approval tests project, mainly because I work on it, but also because it's it's very well written code. Pardon me. And he's got a lot of really clever ways that he does things that I'm not really familiar with. So I'm always learning a lot more from how the author put this together. For instance, he uses um, uh,
Genetics.
yeah, generics in the code that he writes a lot of the times because it's a library that he's written, so you could be passing any kind of object in, and
Yeah.
so he's got a collection of T, and there's an array of T, and he's going to be going and returning a collection of T from an array. So it's just it's it's something that I'm not using on a daily basis because frankly I'm working on 20-year-old code. And so these didn't exist at the time. So I'm not as familiar with it. So I like to learn from this. Of course,
Yeah.
there's a vector, and that's something that people haven't used for 20 years.
Well,
that's why it's different.
Yes, yes.
So, but
I not work with genetics too. I see the code with work genetics, but I'm not. I never implemented. I never create nothing methods or something like that with generics. It's when I see, I kind of understand, but not so deeply.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is okay. So this is an array utils library. So you can just see the various utilities that he has, and like to reverse an array. Here's a generic. He's passing in an array of T. So it's an array of something. And so he's going to go through the whole array, and he'll grab an object off one end, T, and he'll grab an object off the other end, which is a T, and he's just going to swap them.
Yeah.
So here's the ComSpun util T. Well, so if you look at T, okay, I see. Yeah, right, because this is in the ComSpun utils. Right, so yeah, so you can click on here to see where it is if you're not sure where what you're looking at and where it is in the class structure.
The class. Okay.
Yeah. So since this is a utility function, you can see he let this get a little longer than normal.
Yeah.
Most of his classes are much shorter. And most of these he has created for himself in his consulting work. So he'll go and pull approval tests in and use these utils. For instance, he's got this SQL stuff. Yeah, the ComSpun util. He's got this mock connection, database metadata, and statement. They're ways to mock out the database function calls, where the database queries, but he doesn't really use those in approval tests, but he uses those in his day-to-day work.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. So this is another way that you can, read code to learn new ways to do things. And
Yeah.
yeah, you really want to twist your brain around, look at this introspection stuff and how he does
Yeah.
that.
No, it's interesting because to me it's the better form to see new code, see the other code. Okay, understand now what works, what to do. To me, it's interesting to see the good code, to have a reference. Okay, it's a good code. I can
Yes,
use this.
absolutely. Yeah, you can learn from this, and you can then start looking at different ways that you can duplicate that in your own code.
Yeah, this week, I see a class. Okay, I I'm not no. It's Mono, the Spring.
Oh, okay.
No, it's interesting to see, to use. Okay, yeah. What, do this, do that? Okay, it's interesting. I'm I'm not. I never see, but it's an interesting thing.
Hmm. Right, right. So, um, um, the best way to learn something new is to have something that's just outside your I guess your comfort zone, your knowledge, your area of confidence that you know, but just close enough that you can reach for it and stretch a little bit to get it. And so, that's why I'm starting by, let's look at a couple of projects that are written in Java and see how the code works. We've looked at two different bits of code. We've learned something from each of them, and
Yeah.
okay, it looks like this stuff is done now. So if I want to go
Well,
to job, well, there we go. So now I can
yeah,
go
yeah,
to see what job looks like and see if that's a much more complex piece of code.
yeah.
It's 1,600 lines, but it looks like it's one of the central things. And where is that in the project? That is, it's in the Hudson Model project. Where is that? It's also part of core. Okay, Java Hudson. So we went into the CLI. This is in the Hudson, has its own CLI. Interesting. So job is a runnable entity under monitoring of Hudson. Okay, you know what Hudson is?
No.
Okay, so I'll give you a quick history of Jenkins. Hudson was the original Jenkins project.
Okay.
And there was a bunch of people had spent a lot of time building up this project and doing a lot of good stuff with it. And then, you know, as open source projects tend to be, once it gets to be very popular, different different groups want to exercise different control and take it in different directions. And so Oracle effectively co-opted the Hudson project. It was open source, so they just decided to throw a bunch of resources at the Hudson project because they wanted it to go a particular direction. And
Okay.
the guy who founded the project didn't want it to go in that direction, and so he started another project called Jenkins. so that he could maintain control over his project. Just because
Okay.
Oracle had all kinds of financial resources they were going to devote towards supporting it, but they were going to make sure that it's going to go the direction they want it to. And so basically, yeah, Koshuke is the name of the guy who created the project, and he's the primary maintainer, Koshike Kawaguchi. And so it's open source. So he just forked it, created Jenkins, and it uses most of the Hudson project. And this stuff is ancient. You can probably see how old it was, 2006. So yeah, I mean, this is I guess 2006 is probably close to when the project started. But yeah, so that's why you'll sometimes see references to a Hudson library in the Jenkins project.
Okay.
They're more or less the same. It's just that Jenkins and most of the open source developers ran down the road for Jenkins, and Oracle and its developers ran down the road for Hudson. So there we are. Anyhow, so we've got this job thing. So, and stop job builds. That's our internal function. Pass a job and you have a get last build. So a job evidently has a set of runs. And then it goes and gets the first run, first key in the set of runs. And the runs is a sorted map. It's abstract. Oh, so a job
It's
is
abstract
things that
as
implement the
yeah.
job. Okay. And it'll have to implement what it's going to do to get the runs. It's all the runs must be treated immutable. Map is descending order with the newest builds at the top. So there are requirements if you're going to override this and what it means. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you just have to know that if you're working on Jenkins.
Okay, well, it's
And okay, and that makes sense because that's what it does. It basically, if I'm going to get the last job, it has to be there at the top. And then, of course, get the full display name. So it's going to get display name and N, which is what? The full display name from the parent. N plus get the display name. Okay, so it's going to get it from the, okay, so I guess jobs can kick off other jobs. So it's got to figure out what the job is from my parent and then append my part on. That's interesting. So that's how it can uniquely identify a job because it's got the full name. So check stop use stop build. And then so we're going to job. So executor. All right. So the executor is here. And is that a Hudson thing as well? Yes, it is. It's a new
yeah.
Hudson. And where was I? Here you go, do stop. So you're going to call do stop build. Can we go to it? Okay, stops the current build. Thank you. But I can't get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Do stop build. So that's gonna do some complex stuff deep into the executable. Stops the current build based on the ID, and it does all kinds of ways to figure out what ID you've passed in. Interesting. Make sure it has permission, and then it calls interrupt.
Então,
So this is all reasonably straightforward code. They're not using any of the new Java, you know, like in approval test where he uses the generics. They're not doing that here. So anyhow, I just wanted to quickly run through an example of how you can just spend some time reading code and learning things from existing code, looking at code that this is old code. It like this could probably be cleaned up some to be a little bit more readable, but you know, it clearly works.
yeah.
And there are other projects that are, you know, very well written, and you can go look at those for ideas of how to these are evidently all the valid phone numbers that you can have in the US. But you can look at examples of how to use more clever code to see how to do things.
Okay.
One interesting thing about this is that lambdas did not exist in Java 8, and this tool has to work in Java 8. So he has put a lot of, he basically created his own version of
Okay.
lambdas to how they work.
Ah,
See if I can find it. So anyhow, he's got some really incredibly clever code to get things to do stuff that he wants it to do in a language that doesn't necessarily support that. So
what project? Yeah, approval tests. It's a open source project.
yes, it is. If you go to approvaltests.com
Okay.
and you go to Java, that's the quickest way I know to get there because I keep approval tests, you know, right there.
Cool.
And then
Cool.
you can quickly get it and look at it and start digging through the code.
Very, very cool. Approval test. Okay. I noted.
And we're working on the documentation too. So if there's anything in it that you don't understand or, you know, would like to have explained better, let me know, and I will make sure that we start digging into it and document it.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Very cool.
Okay. Yeah, he does some cool stuff with the actions as well. So you can tell that he's got a build on Linux and he tests it and that works. And he's got a build on Windows and he tests it and it works. And he pushes it to Maven Central and that worked successfully. And he even gives the version number of the latest one. And you can see that he talks about somewhere, yeah, how to get it. There it is. So you see 1850 is the latest version. So he
Yes.
keeps
Okay.
this code updated with whenever he pushes it out to Maven Central. So yeah, he's put a lot of work into this to make it all be pretty seamless. I'm super impressed with how he does it. And yeah, he's constantly working on it. 23 days ago. And this project he's had for a number of years, 10 years ago. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a 10-year-old project and he's
Yeah.
still working on it actively with a number of people. 43 contributors to this.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. A
So
project with a long life duration.
yes, yes. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to help out with it. So I'll share that with you. This is good stuff to look at.
Yeah, I will. I will. It's open source. It's interesting.
Yes, absolutely. It's open source. Yeah, and I suppose if you find something that you want to fix on it, you can contribute for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you see, tuple is one of those things that you just always wish that Java would have created, but they didn't. So he went and created his own tuple. There you go. Boom.
Okay.
It's just sometimes you just want to have two things associated with each other. Well, you can go to what is a hash set to hash map, right? Foo close new hash map, right? And then you go to hash map in Java, and hash map has a map entry. Where'd that go? Map entries. So there you go, map.entry. So yeah, so you get an entry, and that's got these two things, right? But you can't really get to it because that's an interface that you can't. It's not really public. It's a part of the map.
The first map. Well,
Yeah, it's like, and it's not. I mean, it's a map entry. It's not a tuple, you know. So anyway, I should go and undo what I just did so we don't accidentally check it in. There we go. So anyhow, I hope this was helpful for you. And what for your homework this week, I would recommend that you find an open source project. Again, I like Jenkins because it's just so easy to dig into, and I like Approval Test because the code is so well written. Spend some time digging into the code and doing a little code reading just to get an understanding of how it works.
Okay.
And we'll talk about what you may have learned next week. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I will look for the approval tests. I like it.
All right. Excellent. Well, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to bug me anytime during the week, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week. And now I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
run out to.
Okay. Okay. No problem. I will look to the approval test. I like it. I like it. So good luck for the wedding and good luck for the conference, for the presentation tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I
You have a great week, and
will.
we'll talk to you later.
Well, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay.